Geronimo lingered for a moment, watching as the police led Tate away. The heat of the confrontation still lingered in the air. You could feel it miles away. He shook his head, trying to clear his mind. Another fight, more trouble brewing. The entire factory seemed to be on edge, like a coiled spring ready to snap. As he stood there lost in thought, a voice pulled him back to the present. "Hey, bruh," a fellow worker called out as he passed by, his face showing a mixture of concern and curiosity. "They just called for you up at the front." Geronimo frowned, surprised. "Called for me? Why, what's up?" The worker shrugged. "Not sure. Heard the union officials are up here today, probably about those contract talks wrapping up." Geronimo has always believed in unions. His father raised him that way, but truthfully he wasn't exactly thrilled with how things had been going lately, and now, of all times, they wanted to talk to him. He gave the worker a quick nod. "All right, thanks." He casually made his way up to the front of the building, weaving through the narrow pathways between machines and workers, all the while feeling the weight of uncertainty pressing down on him. As he approached the office, he passed through the familiar unlocked doors, finally arriving at the door that required someone to buzz him in. He rang the bell and glanced up at the camera, catching his reflection for a moment. His face looked more tired than usual. A brief click signaled that the door had been unlocked, and Geronimo stepped into the quiet front office. It was eerily empty, the cubicles uninhabited, a stark contrast to the bustling factory floor behind him. Most of the office staff still worked remotely, a holdover from the pandemic days, but the silence felt more pronounced in the chaos of the day. At the receptionist's desk, Lisa, the woman he'd known for years, looked up and greeted him with a smile. "Hey, Mo," she said warmly. "It's been a while since you've been up here. Kinda quiet, huh?" Geronimo chuckled, though the sound lacked real humor. "Yeah, feels like a ghost town. You all still working from home?" Lisa nodded. "Most of us are. They're trying to bring us back in, but you know how that goes. People are fighting it every step of the way." "Yeah, I can imagine," he replied, his mind already on why he was summoned here. His curiosity got the better of him. "Did someone ask for me up here?" Lisa pointed toward the conference room door with her pen. "Yep, they're waiting for you in there." Geronimo nodded his thanks and headed toward the door, feeling a sense of unease settle over him. With his hard hat tucked under his arm, he stepped into the conference room. The room was brightly lit, and the atmosphere was thick with tension. As soon as he walked in, he saw them 3 union reps, dressed in their usual work clothes, union patches sewn into their sleeves. They were deep in conversation, but turned their attention to him as he entered. "Mo, Will," the lead union rep said, as he stood and extended his hand. "How are you? How's your dad?" Geronimo smiled faintly as he shook Will's hand, followed by the others. "He's good, thanks." The pleasantries were brief. Will wasted no time getting to the point. "We've got a bit of a situation." "A situation?" Geronimo repeated, his unease growing. He didn't like the sound of that. The 3 men exchanged glances before Will continued. "The contract talks are still ongoing. We've got to head off site to finish the negotiations, and it's likely to go down to the wire, right up until midnight, when the contract expires." Geronimo listened intently, though the knot in his stomach tightened. Midnight. It all hinged on midnight. Will continued. "Everyone from the committee has to be there, but you're the only one who will be in the building when the clock strikes 12. So, we need you to be our point of contact. If we reach a deal, or if things fall apart, you'll be the first to know. You'll have to give the call." Geronimo's eyes widened in shock. "Me?" he asked, almost incredulous. "You think we're gonna strike?" Will let out a heavy sigh, his expression somber. I can't say for sure. We're making progress, but the company's holding firm on a few key issues. It could go either way, but if it goes bad, you'll have to be the one to let the workers know that they need to exit the building and start the strike. You're running the show if it comes to that. Can you handle it? Geronimo stood there, feeling the weight of the world suddenly land on his shoulders. He'd never expected this being thrust into such a pivotal role in the middle of a brewing crisis. His mind raced as he tried to process what Will was asking of him. But despite the anxiety gnawing at him, he straightened his back, looked Will in the eye, and gave a firm nod. Yeah, I can do it. Will smiled, shaking Geronimo's hand firmly, as did the other two union reps. Good. I knew we could count on you. They quickly exchanged cell phone numbers, a sign that this situation was no drill. As they exited the room, Will gave one last word of advice, his face serious. I ain't gonna lie to you, Mo. It's gonna get rough. Tempers are high, and the company's playing dirty. They've got scabs on standby and armed security ready to lock down the gates if it comes to a strike. Just keep your head up and try to hold the peace. Geronimo nodded, his thoughts swirling. He knew what Will was saying was true. They were heading into uncharted waters, and it was up to him to steer the ship, whether it sailed smoothly or capsized in chaos.